radio station, and we are on your computer, your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. Today we're going to talk about one of the sports that I feel like has been groundswelling for a long time here in Mississippi. It's been around for a while, but finally they're getting their own club, the Mississippi Triathlon Club. Joining us is one of their newly formed board members, Donavon Lewis, to tell us a little bit more. So welcome, Donavon.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I am glad to have you here, and it feels like, because I've been in the running community for as long as I've been back to central Mississippi, and it's thriving. There's running communities thriving all throughout Mississippi. And I felt like the next step for so many runners was to get into triathlons. But it felt like once you stepped out of that, you kind of were on your own a little bit more. I know there were small pockets of groups and communities, but nothing really formalized. Have you guys felt that way for a while also?
Absolutely. I mean, every time you finish a run or a workout, you're like, well, man, if we had a club. You know?
How many times has that been said, Donavon, if we had a club?
If I had a nickel, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So finally, there's a club. So how did the Mississippi Triathlon Club come about?
It came together sitting on the back of a tailgate after we just finished a run. Rissa and myself and Brittany and my girlfriend Jennifer, we're just kind of back there, and we're like, you know, we miss the days of the friendship, of being able to do triathlon and share that sport with other friends and actually have, you know, just a group around us. We miss that, you know. So we decided to do something about it. And sure enough, several months later, here we are.
What are the hurdles you have to go through, Donavon, to start a club? Because I know it's one thing to say, hey, we'll start a Facebook group, you know, which I think there have been those in the past, or there probably still are, that are popular. But y'all are taking it that next level so you can kind of be more organized, official, make an impact for the sport throughout the state.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, back in the day, 10 years ago, you know, it was just all of, you know, did you have a Facebook page? And, you know, once everybody found out, there you go. But, you know, with this go around, our members and board decided to do this right. And so we've actually not only got the Facebook page, not only have the website, but we're an official non-for-profit organization. And so we put a lot of work into that. Our board members have skill sets ranging from IT to medical to legal, everything. We've got a fantastic board member group put together so that we could do this upright and really try to help our athletes in our community.
I know you just launched this. It had to be maybe a couple of weeks ago, because I saw it and I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I knew it had been, I mean, not that I won't say that I knew it had been missing, because I hadn't thought about it, because that's not a sport that I sort of went into next, but I always recognized that maybe there wasn't that kind of organizing body over it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that sounds silly, but what is the mission for the Mississippi Triathlon Club?
The mission is to invite, encourage, and build and strengthen everybody, whether you're short, you're tall, it doesn't matter. We want to grow the sport of triathlon, and the reason why is because there are so many gifts that the sport gives back and that it teaches you and that you can pass on to your kids. You know, the gifts are overflowing when you get into it for a while, and it's kind of like a church in some ways. You know, you have folks there that have experience, and then you want to pass that gift on to the youth, right? And that gift will instill their life, and it helps them mature, and it's something good to have the rest of your life.
I don't think anybody, no matter what level you are or what it is you choose to do, should do fitness alone.
Absolutely.
Fitness communities, whatever yours looks like, whether it's a walking club, running club, boxing gym, all the things, is just better with like-minded people who are trying to get better at the same thing.
Absolutely. You know, it's like, you know, if you remember when you did that first walk around the block, or you did your first mile, or you did your first 5K, you know, you were excited about that. And, you know, you want to share that with somebody. And then finally, you know, we've got a group where you can actually do that. And then you've got people there who understand that, what it took for you to, if you were, you know, the first mile or your first 5K or your marathon or your triathlon, you know, you've got somebody there that has been through there. They understand it. They knew what it took for you to go through that. And, you know, that's the kind of stuff that we want, you know, just to kind of share that experience with and encourage each other. We need that.
So we need to define triathlon, because I feel like there are folks that are listening that know that that's got something with lots of things. And then there's some that's probably competed or done or enjoy the sport. But, Donavon, how do you describe a triathlon? Now you're trying to recruit members, okay? So be gentle with how you go about describing this.
Sanity relief, maybe, it could be one description, but I would say, well, first of all, it's swimming, and then it's biking, and then it's running. And the distances will vary. They have something called a super sprint. It's super short distances that can be just a short, maybe 400 meters, which is maybe a couple laps in the pool, to maybe a 3-mile bike, and then maybe a 1-mile run, all the way up to something that is 300 miles, which is something on the other side of the spectrum, something that you can chase after you've been in it for forever. And so there's something for everyone. And it's kind of one of those things where, if you are one of those folks that went out and went around the block for the first time, you might ask yourself that question, what's next? And so there's always something next that you can do in this sport that will take you into it, and it'll take you as far as you want to go.
And you never get bored because you have 3 outlets or modalities to sort of like rotate sort of through,
That's right.
which makes it a little bit unique. And I do feel like there's this gateway. You start out running, maybe you do a half marathon, and then if you do a marathon, you're like, what next? And if you don't want to go further, then you start looking at you just sort of naturally transition into the triathlon sort of area. It feels like, Donavon, every day, or maybe more now than, or maybe less now, but I don't know, because we got saturated with 5Ks, running events.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy now. Used to, you only had the Mississippi Blues Marathon. Now we've got wonderful marathons from the Mississippi Gulf Coast
That's right.
to Central to even in the Delta. You've got options now. I hear less about triathlon opportunities. Do we have like larger, I know there's some sprints, but does Mississippi have like a mainstay half or full triathlon option each year?
After COVID, a lot of the races were mom and pop races, and it was just impossible to keep them alive. And so we unfortunately did lose some of those races, but we are starting to see them come back. And so, on our website, we actually have some team members that have actually curated a list of races that are going on in Mississippi, and you don't have to pay anything to go to our website and look at it. We've got them right there on the main page, and there's actually, a lot more than I thought. And so that was encouraging to see them start coming back. And they're all different distances, from beginner to, experienced, you name it, they're out there. They're coming back.
And well, that's cool to see too. And I like one thing too about triathlons. I've never done one, but I like the idea that there's all these different types too. You may have like run, bike, run, or you may have like, it's not always just the traditional swim, bike, run, and sort of that way. Or you can have like team options, and you can like have all of these sort of things. But it's also kind of a daunting sport to get into. People look and go, man, I can doggy paddle, but maybe I can't swim.
Yeah.
Or, I haven't ridden a bike since I was, in my neighborhood as a kid. How do you encourage folks to try something different?
Well, that's a good question. And what I tell a lot of my athletes is walk out the front door. That's the first thing you do, is put one foot out forward and just start making the effort and keep at it, the consistency. But with the sport, being around other folks who do the sport and just hanging out with them, just go run with them, go hang out and swim with them and see what it's about and experience it. Go explore it. Get out of your comfort zone. I tell my athletes to go out and do something that scares them, not something dangerous, but something that's scary.
Swimming in the reservoir scares me.
Of course, but of course, and then, being out there with somebody in a kayak for sure. But that's part of why we made the club, is so that you could go out and experience that for the first time. If you want to do that, there are folks there that want to see you grow in the sport, if that's what you want to chase after.
Yeah, and you start in a pool. You don't necessarily have to start.
Of course, definitely start in the pool. But to answer the question is start small. Give it a shot. Try to find other folks who are doing that thing and go hang out with them. And that's why we created the club, is so that you could have that path to go hang out and learn about the sport.
Will there be like meetups and things to practice, or just not where it's like organized workouts per se, but like, hey, we are going to be at the reservoir, or we're going to be wherever, and that way.
Yeah.
Okay, Donavon, let's take a break, but we've got more with Donavon Lewis. He is a new board member for the new Mississippi Triathlon Club. Mississippi app and on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station. And don't forget SuperTalk TV. We are on your computer and mobile device. Probably not the best day to talk about running and biking, but swimming's a good thing on like the hottest day so far of the year. But we are talking about that Mississippi has a new Mississippi Triathlon Club. One of the board members is with us today, Donavon Lewis, and we're trying to help spread the word because I think this is just such a good thing. And if you're into it or you've always wondered it or you had somebody, I feel like now is the time to sort of get in and help it grow. Have y'all seen a good, response to it?
Absolutely, yeah. In the years past where we've had other clubs, you can always see an influx. But this go around, people are ready. We had a huge rush when we opened up our Facebook page. And then they were kind of anticipating the website going up, and finally we got it, So,
what's the web address?
Yeah, so the website is mstriathlonclub.com.
So original. No,
yeah, I know, right?
But it's just MS. You don't spell out Mississippi
Nope.
in that way. You mentioned listing some of the events that are coming up. What are some of those that that are coming up? We were just talking about one off air, the Heart of Dixie, which is synonymous with the Neshoba County Fair,
That's
which
right.
I can't believe we're already talking about that.
I know.
Again, it's coming right around. And it's a little different because you can do teams and
That's right.
And so tell us about that.
Yeah, so Heart of Dixie is a unique race for Mississippi because it is a point-to-point race. And what that means is once you come out of the swim and you transition to your bike, you'll hop on your bike and you actually bike to a different location. Whereas traditionally, you would come right back to where you swam. You got out of the water and you go back to your transition area. This race is a little different because you hop out of the water, you get on your bike, you bike to a different location on your way to the Neshoba County Fair. And you drop off your bike and you swap your bike out for your run shoes, you grab your run shoes and your hat, and you take off and you do the last leg of your triathlon on the run, and then you finish around a dirt racetrack, and it's iconic.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
How many years have they been doing that?
I want to say it's been 30 plus years.
Wow.
It's been around for a hot minute.
Okay, I knew it was one of the more favorite ones. 30 years, I just don't think I realized that.
Yeah.
Because again, I feel like the sport of triathlons in Mississippi has not lacked, but kind of like in terms of popularity.
Right.
You've got coming up July 4th, you've got the Watermelon Classic, which is bringing in like 1,200 runners, one of the largest 5Ks. So I didn't realize that event had been going on so long. Are there any others that stick out for folks?
Yep, Double Dash is coming out. It's one of our only local races, one of them anyway, and that's a pretty iconic, fun one, put on by a great group of folks who know what they're doing when it comes to putting on races, and they've supported us, and we love them. It's we're all a small community of athletes, and trying to give back in different ways, and so we actually love and try to support the Double Dash. So that's a fun one.
When is it?
That one I think is on our website. And I'm sorry, I don't have the date on that one for sure, but it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one is definitely a good one to do.
So if they're listening and they want to get into it, what's the easiest? You said just step out and challenge yourself. But if you don't have the bike, because that's like an expense, I think most folks have running shoes.
Sure.
If you know how to swim, you probably have a swimsuit you can throw on and survive. What are like the bare minimum entry level? Like bring a bike that doesn't have training wheels. Is that like, or are there specific types for you to ease yourself into it?
Yeah, we always do simulation races where if you're not confident enough to go do one of those races, you could actually go swim. Either at the lake or in a pool somewhere, and then transition, just practice getting on your bike, whatever bike that might be. And if you don't have one, if you're a member of a gym, you could go hop on a spin bike for a little bit, right? And try to go for time. And after you do that, make it fun. Have your shoes packed up in the car or in the locker room. Go throw the shoes on and go head out for a run on a trail somewhere nearby.
You think you're fit? I dare you to go hop on a spin bike and go as fast as you can for a good 7 to 10 minutes, and then hop off and see if you can't make 100-meter dash as quickly as you can.
Well,
you're like Bambi out there.
It's all about pacing yourself. With the shorter races, it's going to be an all-out effort. But for some of the longer ones, we pace ourselves. And when you really get into the sport, you can get watches that will track your heart rate and track your pace and all that fun stuff.
Which I think that's part of what the running and the triathlon sports provide us working adults who can kind of nerd out on it, right?
Yeah,
because it's really about just self-improvement, you versus you, kind of getting in, nerding out on the numbers and your stuff. And, you're in a different part in your life. So it's not about making, a college team or the Olympics or, like anything like that. It's just about being out there, being the best you. Rhino said the Double Dash is August the 3rd. So
August the 3rd, thank you.
It is right around the corner. Donovan, how did you get into triathlons?
Well, so I went to Southern Miss and
To the top.
Oh, yep, to the top. And I lived in the gym for a while, and I wanted something different. I don't know what it was, but Hattiesburg had a triathlon that I wanted to try, so I went out there. I was already a cyclist in high school, all through high school, and I was like, let me just try this, And I took a swim class, scuba class while I was at Southern Miss, and so it just kind of made sense, why not? And so I went out there, signed up for the race, and hated it. It kicked my tail. It was so hard. I remember going home with my tail between my legs. But I think that's when I got bit by the bug. And then I was just like, you know what? I need to go back and try it. And I remember when Mississippi Heat Triathlon Club put on Soak Up the Sun out in one of our neighborhoods out here in Reunion Subdivision. And I went out there and tried my second triathlon, and I panicked in the water. And I was like, okay, but I wanted to keep trying this because it was a challenge. It was a great challenge. And I did it. I did my what I called my first official triathlon out there. And boy, I knew I was hooked after that.
What's in your resume now?
In my resume of all the triathlons, I don't know how many sprints I've done or Olympics. I've done, I think, 10 half Ironman. I've done 14 Ironman full distance, 140.6 miles, and then I did a triple Ironman, Ultraman Florida.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Something's not right.
What's wrong with you?
If you think I'm bad, you should talk to my girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. It definitely can be addicting. It can be a lot of fun. It's funny that our origin stories of getting at least into that community are similar, Donovan, because at Southern Miss, I learned to, when I say learned to run, but I signed up for my first 5K. It started on campus. It left the Payne Center, and then it went around. And it introduced you to the Longleaf Trails, which you're not familiar, man. Those are just such a gem for the Pine Belt area for runners and cyclists and all the things. And I lived in apartments right next to the baseball fields that had direct access to the Longleaf Trail. And so, and that kicked my tail too. I'm not going to say my time because I finished, and so, everybody's race is different. But it kicked my tail, and I would get out and go and try to learn how to run further, faster on the Longleaf Trails, and that's where my bug for running definitely was called. And there's a really great community of runners in Hattiesburg.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and they're all over. The community here. It's so funny. I mean, we actually recognize when we're driving down the road, we might see some folks running down the trail, and I know who it is based on their run pattern before I see their face. But the community out here is wonderful. If it's not your main family, it's your second or your third.
Sometimes you like them better.
Yeah.
How long were you into the sport of triathlon before you got into coaching?
I was in it for about 12 years, and of course, I'll still love the sport, still in it. So it's been about 15 years now in the sport. And
why? How have you not gotten bored?
There's always something different. There's always another challenge. There's always something right around the corner that I'm not necessarily racing against other people. I'm racing against myself. And that is one of those core things that we try to show people, is that you're not trying to beat the person next to you necessarily all the time. You're just, you're always asking yourself, what's next, And so that's kind of one of those things that happens with me when I race. When I first started my first triathlon, I was scared to death. But there was that draw to it, you got to itch that scratch. And then next thing you know, you knock that out and you got good at it. So what's next, and you kind of work up to the kind of like the half Ironman and then the full, and then, man, they even have ultra distances out there if you want to do it.
So what's next for you, Donovan?
I did 2 full Ironman back to back within a couple of months of each other just recently. So I need a little bit of a break. So I'm going to have some fun this summer with sprint triathlons and hang out with the athletes and really hammer on Mississippi Triathlon Club.
And if people want to join or learn more, where do they go?
mstriathlonclub.com.
And what's the membership?
Membership is it's only $30 for the year, and you have access to some other resources like biking routes, running routes. We're going to have clinics and all kinds of activities to get you engaged and up to speed if you're interested in getting into the sport.
Do something that makes you a little nervous, huh?
Absolutely. Always do something that scares you.
Always do something that's scary. All righty. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate your time, Donovan. Look forward to seeing how that club grows. I think it's such a good thing. But you guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.